We call the benevolent beings of light, archangels, and ascended masters to guide and inspire us during this forum. Our forum's vision is to bring the understanding, tools, discipline, and support for those seeking to enter the straight and narrow path, the road less traveled, that will lead us along effectively and steadily through the ascension process. Integration of the human experience with our divine origin is moving us full circle to achieve our divine potential. So be it. Amen.
Okay, we'll play the videos, but not recording. Oh, that's right, we're recording this. Never regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness. Bad days give you experience. Worst days give you lessons. And best days give you memories. Remember. Okay, so tonight's topic is water wisdom. And that video went through a very detailed discussion about it. What I'd like to say first is God provides for everything. If man would look at it and leave it alone and stop messing with nature and our water, there wouldn't be a problem in the world. God knows what we need and sends it in great abundance. If you live in nature, if you are surrounded by water, if you bring yourself to water very frequently, it does something to you. Water magnifies sound. I can hear someone speaking across my 88-acre lake as if they're standing in my yard, and they don't know it. The lake provides life. The rivers, the oceans. There's so much life in the water. And P.S., the water is above ground and below. It isn't just in the oceans and the rivers and lakes. It's above in the sky. It's all around you. Water in our bodies. I can't tell you enough the importance of being hydrated. It's everything for your health. It takes you into such a state of health, even with all the other stuff we deal with, when you're hydrated. When you allow yourself to be thirsty, you're already dehydrated. By the time your signal goes off that you're thirsty, you're already in trouble. So I say to you, keep a supply of water with you at all times. Sip your water so that you don't have to guzzle it. Sip it. Measure it. Watch how much water you would take in a day. I measure it by how many bottles of water I drink. It's my water from my well. However, I put them in bottles, whether they're glass bottles or plastic. I make sure it's stuff that isn't gonna, make me in trouble. And I sip it all day long. I don't have to be thirsty. I know I need it. When you eat, the best thing you could do is wait till you finish eating and then drink and sip it for quite a while. You need that for digestion. You need a lot of water for digestion. As we age, it's true what it said in the video. We do lose a lot of the water. That's why our skin starts to look different, not nice and plump and filled with moisture. Yeah, like a baby. Babies are round, all pudgy and cute. They've got a lot of water in their system. If it's healthy for them and they came out that way, you know that it's healthy for us all the days of our life. Water's magical. When you put thoughts into the water, and it's been proven by that Japanese master, you put thoughts into the water and it actually crystallizes into a magnificent structure. Yeah, I have seen it under a microscope. I cannot tell you how beautiful. But you can also put negative thoughts into it and you should see what forms in that water. The water in your body as well is being affected by your thoughts. So when you allow yourself to be angry or frustrated or hurt, and you don't clean that up, the water moving through your body is filled with these heavy, harsh molecules of water. It's not pretty what we do to the water that's moving through our body. So as in nature, where things are purified through the ecosystem, there's filtering in all of the swamps. People go, ooh, it's so ugly. No, it's purifying that water. We have 7 springs feeding our lake, 7, some of which that are underground and bubble up along the shoreline on our property as well. We have one on each side of our property. And then there are those that are actually coming through the filter system that is protected land and comes into our lake. The water is so pure. It's a Class A lake, but so many of the lakes in the Adirondacks are spoiled. And it's because people use gas motors, and that gasoline gets into the water and poisons the life, the plant life, the fish, the frogs, everything are poisoned. And you can see it's so unhealthy. When man gets involved and starts putting chemicals in, we highly recommend that you don't. I would say anything you can do to allow the plant life to be healthy in a waterway that you have any access to, please help it to be healthy for the animals' sake that live in that water, for the people who drink that water downriver. The Hudson is used for drinking water in many places. However, there was a mill here, and they were drinking the water down in Glens Falls. As the water moved down all the way to New York, that water was so polluted, it was not even funny, and yet it was used for water supply all the way down. There was a time when it was clean and beautiful, but the industries that dumped all of their junk into that water has caused such problems. Man is the problem, but we're supposed to be the stewards of the water, of the earth, of the animals, of everything on this planet. And it's so true what was being said in that video. We really need to take responsibility. So for instance, you're walking along the shoreline and people were in a boat eating lunch and they threw the paper wrappers and their water bottles, right? And they float to the shoreline. If you happen to be walking there, take that on you to pick it up. Carry a little net bag with you. We do it. Everyone that lives near a lake or a river that loves it because their homes are here does exactly that. That's all we can do is our part. And when other people see you doing this, you will be amazed how they'll catch on. And they'll do it too. When you're driving in a car, you ever see people throwing stuff out the window? It breaks my heart. Because I always said to myself, is this the world that I want to build? A world filled with trash. So if I add to that trash, then that's what my world is going to look like. So even as a child, I took responsibility and made sure I cleaned up, whether it was mine or someone else's, just so that that earth would not be contaminated like that. We've become very irresponsible, very detached to nature for the most part. Not all of us, but many of us, too many of us. I find when people live in the city where there's not a lot of green, not a lot of nature available to them, other than the pigeons and maybe an occasional tree once in a while, you lose track. You start to forget of what it's like to be in nature. A lot of people leave the city on the weekends and come up here where I live and really enjoy themselves. They really do. And they appreciate it as much as I do because they're awake and aware. And when you love going someplace, what else would you do but cherish it the best that you can? But the water is sacred. It's sacred. Life cannot be sustained without it. No life. No life at all. You can live a month without food, but you can't live more than, I think it's a week or less, without water. That's how important it is to your system to keep things flushed and moving. Forget your digestive system. It completely goes bad without water. It cannot operate properly. And anyone that has problems with that knows exactly what I mean. The water is so sacred and holy that it actually, like I said, takes on crystalline forms according to who it is that's focusing upon that water. So when I say the prayer, when we start, thank you for the blessings of our water and our food, and bless it. I really mean it. Bless it like it means the difference between ingesting something that is going to harm us or bless us. Because the farmers, the corporate farms, they have no love involved in what they grow. It's all about money. How many times that they can use that field to produce, not how healthy that ground is. And God knows what they use for fertilizer and call it natural. I'm telling you, I personally know what they're doing, and it is not healthy. That's why we have so many outbreaks of whatever that stuff is, salmonella or whatever it is, because they're poisoning our foods with this impure, natural fertilizer. It isn't. And they give it to them free. These corporate farms get it free, and that's why they use it. We need to support the local farmers, honestly, because they don't do this. And they try to follow the rules where you let the ground rest for a certain amount of time. They can't do it the full 7 years. I understand that. But they let it rest, and then they use their other fields. This is how you get nutrition into the food from the ground itself. And the water that's used to irrigate those farms, it's so important that it's pure and beautiful and holy and blessed. But when you bless whatever it is that you bring to your home, you change the form and vibration of it. That's why it's so important to bless your food and water before you eat it. It isn't a ritual, let's say, that you do before you eat. It should be for your life sustaining. You do that prayer to put light and love into your food and water. Even if you're, especially actually, when you're eating out, because they're trying to make a profit. They're doing the best they can, but they have to keep getting lesser quality food in order to make the same amount of money. The world problem is Antichrist, is the greed. That's what it is, the greed. They don't look at it as greed. They look at it as a business. I look at it as unhealthy. So if you do eat out, bless your food. You will bring life back into it with that light from your hands. Do you know why the indigenous people eat with their hands and not with utensils? Because the light in their fingers is going into the food as they pick it up and put it in their mouth. You see, it isn't a dirty habit, and it isn't something to laugh about or to find to be unhealthy, as long as they wash their hands before they ate, I hope. But it actually is a good practice because you're putting the light that's coming through your body into your food as you're eating it. Isn't that something? Who would think of these things? But it's true. The civilized people need to get a little uncivilized and start doing things that are going to actually help us to survive until everyone is conscious. You see? Kids eat with their hands. Everything goes in their mouth with their fingers, right? And we're all going, no, 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 your hands are dirty. Well, it's helping them to get immunity, right? With a little bit of dirt. Because if you sanitize your kids too much, they get sick really easy. Their bodies go, what's that? You know? My mother used Lysol on me this morning. Yeah. So we overdo it. We overdo it with the cleanliness things. You see? Yes, we should be clean. That I'm not saying that. But you see what I mean? There's certain things that are actually helpful. Helpful. I made my kids go out and play every day after they did their homework outside. Go play in the dirt, climb a tree, do whatever you need to do. Be outside, breathe that air. We need it. We need it desperately. We spend way too much time inside, way too much time. I open my windows wide because I do have to spend time, and I understand a lot of us have no choice. You work, you're doing things that keeps you inside. What happens on a rainy day? Open your windows. The smell of that fresh air that's been washed in the rain is so wonderful. When I was little, my mother was so upset with me because when it was storming out, I put my raincoat on and I was outside. I love the excitement of the wind and the rain and the thunder and the lightning. I thought it was like, wow. And it was charged with electrons that were just, the air was charged with energy. And I loved it. I loved it. Start thinking about what nature does to purify things and realize it's for us too. Did you ever capture water from the rain and wash your hair with it? Your hair, it's so healthy. It's so wonderful. Unless you live next to a factory, then I would say consider not doing it. But if you can, start thinking of things you can do to be out in nature whenever you can on your free time. Put your feet in a pond or a river. It is so healthy and wonderful. Christine is so lucky. She goes to the beach and walks on the sand, barefoot, taking in that energy, listening to the crashing waves and the birds and everything in nature all around her, watching the little sand crabs running in the sand, being in the sun and letting it touch you and heal you and energize you. This is what we're lacking. That's why we're all so pale. We need to get out. We need to breathe fresh air. It isn't just a filter system in your home. It's good because there's a lot of poison in a lot of things in your house that I never realized until I started investigating it. What they use in fabrics. Manufacturing, it's great. But what they do to make things a certain way, certain fabrics, certain furniture, all kinds of things, our clothing, everything is hurting us. It's causing so much problems. Be discerning in what you wear. Natural cottons, natural fabrics are very healthy. Hopefully not overprocessed when they were making it. Find sources. It's expensive. It is. But there are people that still do things the old way. You might want to investigate it. The indigenous people make a lot of things. Start supporting them. Support your local farmers. Support people who are doing things, trying in every way to help us to get through these days until we all wake up and start doing it right. But take personal responsibility with your water, especially, and your food. It is sacred. Food is not just there to make you feel like you're not starving, right? That you're not hungry, your stomach's not growling. It's an experience. It is. And you know what you could do with your water if it gets boring for you? You could squeeze some fruit and get the juice from the fruit into it to give it some flavor. Make sure it's natural. I love lemon water. I love it. And it alkalines your body, which is very healthy. Very healthy. So there's so many things you can do. Get berries and just sprinkle it on the plate to make it pretty. When you eat food, make sure it's beautifully arranged. Make it pretty so that you get all the sensations of satisfaction visually, the smell, the arrangement, the order that you eat. The truth is, to cleanse your palate in the beginning is to actually have dessert first. They say it's an old person thing to make sure you got your dessert in. But if you have like some type of a fruit mesh of some sort, like a lemon ice to start before you eat, you cleanse your palate and prepare yourself for digestion. It's true. And then you eat your salad. The lighter foods come first because they digest faster. The heavier foods you eat later because they're going to take quite a while, up to 4 hours, like meat and heavy starchy vegetables. Educate yourself on how food digests, and you'll help your digestive system properly get your digestion right, so that it helps you with the movement of elimination, and it also brings the nutrients that you need to your system, so that it's not all messed up where you're eating your meat first and then the lighter foods. Dessert should never be last. If it's fruits, it should always be first. Yeah. So the water, when you bathe in the water, I love to take a bath. I don't have time to do it all the time, but I love it. And I put lavender in it, and I put salts in it, just a little bit, just enough to make fragrance and comfort for my body. You wouldn't believe what Epsom salt takes out of your system. It literally takes out toxins, and it's floating on top of the water sometimes because we don't realize how much our bodies are exposed to all of this in the air, in the atmosphere. A lot of it's being done on purpose. You all know this. Some of it is just a byproduct of manufacturing or other practices going on, where you have a lot of highways around you when you're surrounded by exhaust from vehicles and what have you. Your body's doing everything it can to keep you healthy and safe. Help it. Help it. If you go in the ocean, it has the salt in the water. You're cleansing your body as if you're taking an Epsom salt bath. It's very healthy. When I was little, when my father said we're going to Jones Beach, it was the best thing that could ever happen to me. Yes, we had to leave at 5 in the morning and get there about 10, but I'll tell you, it was worth it. It was amazing. I loved it. It's a wonder I didn't drown as a kid because I didn't want to come out of the water. Let's start getting back to the practices of our ancestors. Do you know that we only took baths in the rivers and lakes? Ice cold water in some of those rivers. We weren't meant to take a hot bath to the degree that we do unless you close your pores before you get out of that shower. Because when you leave your pores open like that and you're being polluted from everything that's around you, it's getting into those pores a lot more than you want it to. So it is so healthy for you to take a nice cool rinse. I don't mean ice cold, because I know that shocks you. I just mean cool it down to close up your pores. If you wash your face, use nice warm water, and then use nice cool water to close up your pores again. It will help your skin to be healthy. I practice this. I always did. I never had pimples, never, ever, ever as a teenager. My brother was covered with them, and my sister too, because they didn't do what I did. They didn't close the pores. They didn't cleanse it really well. The water is sacred and blessed for us. And I did bless the water, not even knowing what I was doing. I just seemed to have this inner sense, and I loved the water. In the sacredness of the water, it also holds memory. It does. Memory of good and evil, memory of bad, memory of kindness. The environment, when people come to our lake that are guests and they're not in that state of mind that we are, where we cherish the lake. I can feel it when I'm close to the shoreline. I can feel the disrespect and lack of interest and concern. It holds it, the water. The water gives life. If those animals that live in that water didn't have that water, they can't breathe. They breathe differently than we do. We are breathing in air and a type of mist of water as well. When we use moist water, like with a CPAP, they have the water tank on it. It actually is very healthy for you, very healthy. No, you don't want to get water in your lungs. That's not what I'm saying, but it's controlled in a different way. And it just cools that water and makes it very healthy for you to take in. In the winter, when it's very dry heat, did you ever notice you have nosebleeds or your nose is very dry and crusty? It's because it doesn't have the moisture that it needs because the heat isn't as healthy when it's especially forced air, which a lot of people that live up here have. I have baseboard. I came from downstate, so I understood we needed moisture in the heat. Start to look at water in a very different way. Think of it as part of God's creation that is sacred and holy, and every life form on the planet needs it to survive. The word gratitude came up a lot in the video. Gratitude in every aspect of your life brings more goodness and holiness. I'm not just saying this because it sounds good. I'm telling you the truth. Even when you have a day where you have worked very hard because there was so much struggle in it, be grateful, because whatever happens in your life has deep meaning, personal meaning for you. You went through this for a very important reason. Honor everything in your life. Honor it, bless it, and be grateful. People say to me, Barbara, my goodness, you were so sick, and oh my God, what you went through. And I said, stop. I was healing. When you're sick, you're letting go of something that is inside you that needs to leave. And it's actually healing you. Look at everything as positive. And when you go through a rough day, be extra grateful, because tomorrow you don't have to go through the same thing you did today. Every day brings you something new. And if you're in a growth period, you are going to go through quite a bit. But when you look at it as a gift and grace from God, instead of torture, and that God doesn't hear me, and why is this happening to me? Instead of trusting and believing, that's when we get depressed, angry, frustrated. We are creating every day of our life. We are. The world doesn't control you unless you let it. You see? So if you are grateful for what happens, you're grateful for what you created. And if you do go through a day of peace and comfort, be just the same grateful as you were on the day when you struggled, because both were very important. We go through periods where we're on a plateau, where we're resting. Cherish those holy moments. Start to really look at your life as a blessing, no matter what you go through, no matter what people are like. Go through it with a blessing in your heart, because it is. You are God in the making, and this is part of the process. We have to unload a lot of junk that we picked up along this road of learning. And it's time right now. So on those days that you wish you didn't get out of bed, think of it differently. I got out of bed because this was a day that I was going to live my life. I was going to cleanse myself today, or I was going to have a great fun day, just hanging out, doing what I want to do. Don't get tangled up in what people do or don't do around you, because that will yank you down. It's their business. You have to tell yourself that. They have free will, and they make their own choices because they needed that experience. Would you believe this? As wrong as you know it is for you, they don't see it that way. They want to go through it to have that experience. And it's our job to know this, to recognize it and honor it. It's funny, but I can say this now because I was doing this all the time, allowing myself to be yanked down and crying for other people because of their choices. I would spend days crying for people. And one day my higher self said, "So Barbara, woo, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I feel so bad because they're suffering." And my higher self said, "Did you ever suffer? Did you make those same choices at one time?" And I had to think about it. And I said, "Yes." "And did you learn from those experiences, Barbara?" And I said, "Yeah, because I'm not doing them now." "Well, imagine that. How about you allow others to go through what they need to and love them from a distance rather than cry for them? Because your pity does not help them. It adds to the pain and suffering." Holy Christmas. Can you imagine? Love everybody and let them be, for they will have their timer go off when they wake up enough to say no more. I am not going to live like this anymore, and I'm going to make better choices. You see? So with the grace of God, nature has brought us everything we need to be cleansed and fed and enjoy the beauty of what we have. And what do? Walk around making ourselves miserable. Cut it out. Let people go through what they need to. That's the blessing you can give them. And what do you do when you think about them? You send them light. That gives them strength to go through what they need to get to where they need to go. Don't pity them. Don't pity them. Honor them that they have the inclination to even come in at this time to work these things through. Remember, don't go by what you're looking at on the outside. There's some great masters walking around, making some really bad choices sometimes too, because it isn't time for them. They're showing other people. They're doing their missions here. Never judge anything. Jesus had it right on the money, because we don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Go figure. We thought we were so smart, and it sure looked like that, but it isn't. It isn't. We have enough to figure ourselves out. So smile, even with those around you that didn't listen to you, that didn't take advice that was good and wholesome. Tell them once and then move on. If they ask you questions, tell them again. But if they don't, just love them. Love them right where they are. Our children, our grandchildren, our spouses, our friends, our relatives, no different. No different. So this magnificent water that we were studying today, study it deeper. Really, give it some thought. Read about it. There's been great studies done on the water. And I'm telling you, it's more than it appears to be. What else can go from solid to liquid to gas? Hello. Really, it's magnificent in its structure, how it can shapeshift. It's just marvelous. You ever see a snowflake land on your fingertip? and you look at it and it's so beautifully formed. I understand not two snowflakes look the same. Well, it's just like water when it crystallizes through the thought forms that go into it. So tape joy onto your bottle of water that you take with you, or on your thermos or whatever you put water in, or your jug. I have a friend that takes, it's got to be 15 gallons of water with him. Yeah, that song was so beautiful. Love the life you are creating. You're creating your life. So when things happen, know that it was there for you. Your higher self knows what you need every day. So look at the life as an opportunity to create it the way you dream it, the way you want it, the way you'll love it. Thank you. So tonight's topic, the water wisdom. You know, I didn't go into how water conducts electricity as well. And it is a conductor and used in all sorts of ways for making things in industry, besides just sterilizing, and used for other purposes as a additional material inside certain formulas and what have you. Water is one of our most precious commodities, really. It is so precious that we can't live without it. Our planet can't live without it. It has its own system of raising the water up and bringing it back down. It is so ingenious the way that the whole thing was set up. If you really look at it, it couldn't have been a man or woman who figured this out. It had to be divinely orchestrated. It is perfection at its finest. So use water, love water, bless water, drink water, become a lover of water. Make it an important part of your life. Bathe yourself and just relish the feeling of being submerged in the water. And enjoy the beauty and wonder of the large bodies of water that are on this planet. You can even just, if you are an armchair traveler, look at all the bodies of water by seeking it out. There's videos showing you all the bodies of water in the world. There used to be a lot of them, more than we see now. Now there's too much politics on there, but you can really find it. And I'm telling you, it is so beautiful. Waterfalls do something to you. It shows you the abundance in that hour that you sit there. How many hundreds of thousands of gallons of water pour down the sides of mountains. And that happens every moment of every day of every year and never ends. The abundance of nature at its finest. It's mind-boggling. And there's always, until man blocks it, puts up a dam, or in some way alters what nature provides for us, everything is in its perfect state. So if you have any say about it, make sure you keep it in mind. Leave nature alone. She knows exactly what she's doing. Just like with climate change, it's a natural phenomena. Earth goes through cycles, just like our body goes through cycles. And she will warm up and cool down as she sees fits, whatever will serve her purposes, whatever will serve her surface, her inners, and her atmosphere. She's an intelligent being. We need to step back and honor that, like the indigenous people on the planet, which was mentioned in the video. They understood the brilliance of nature. And boy, you don't mess with her, because she will win. She will win. Yeah. But if you go with it and allow nature to unfold around you, you'll see the perfection in everything. The animals know when to have babies when there's abundance of water and food. They just know. They have instincts. We, the people, have lost our instincts, honestly, other than those that study this and really make an effort to understand nature and how she operates. If you live in a place like I do, where you can watch the habits of the animals, if I see the squirrels and chipmunks starting to really pile up food and running around like maniacs, I know it's going to be one heck of a winter. If the pine cones in the spring are all over the place, more than usual, it's providing food for those little guys to get through a long, hard winter. And that's what we're having this spring. So I'm watching, and I see what's going to be. Yep. If you start taking in the consciousness of witnessing nature, especially the water, you'll start to understand everything. And I mean it, everything about nature. How when it rains, most people go, oh, it's ruining my day, it's raining. I don't do that. I go, oh man, she knows just when those trees are gasping for water. She just knows. She knows in the spring when the snow is on the trees still to set that wind going so that it blows it off the branches and don't break off all the branches of those gorgeous pines. Nature knows what she's doing. And we do too. Let's start taking an interest by observing and honoring the perfection of nature. And again, because water is so vital for our life, for plants' life, for animals' lives, honor the water, bless it, show it how much we appreciate it. And everything that you're grateful for, you'll have in abundance, always, always. The universe hears you and responds to you. So on this holy night, I hope that this awareness of the water and its importance and its holiness has been given to you. And you'll start being very much aware that that water is so special and it needs your love, and it will give you and it'll always be available to you when you need it. Keep it in containers that will be safe for you. Use your thoughts of what you feel is best. I use glass bottles. I feel much better. Plastic is a very new invention on the planet. Glass has been here for centuries. There must be a reason for it, yes? So, our topic tonight, to me, was very important, and I hope you feel the same way. And I hope it brings you so many blessings to be thinking more about your water and how wonderful it is for you, and how you can dress it up and make it more tasty if plain water doesn't interest you. But make sure it's healthy and natural, not those flavored things that you can buy and put it in your seltzer or water or whatever you do. It isn't real. It's chemical. It's artificial. It's not for you. It's especially not for you because your frequency is not going to appreciate it. You want to be a high frequency being at all times. Therefore, give it things that God gave us. Whatever comes naturally, that's what we need. And don't be afraid of it. Don't let them talk you out of it. And please look at your foods. Make sure it's not chemical engineered. Please. Hellman's mayonnaise says it right on the jar, right on the label, not where the ingredients are, where you would look for something like that. It's up at the top of the label where you never would think to look. They sold out. God knows who owns it now. Most of the big companies sold out, and it wasn't a good move because now we really don't know who's running these companies and where the sourcing is coming from. Eat live foods. It's very safe. Try to get it from organic sources if possible, or at least from a farmer that is a conscious person who is very careful about the crops and the fertilizer and the land. We're trying to keep these bodies healthy until we become completely crystalline. And then our appetites will pretty much diminish to the point where we won't be hungry anymore and we won't need it. And then when we turn into energy bodies, it's a whole nother story that we'll start talking about when the time is right. So, my beloveds, it was a wonderful evening. The conversation was great. I really appreciate all your questions. It really brings us someplace wonderful. And I invite anybody that is listening to this on YouTube that you do choose to join us. It's a wonderful conversation in segment 2, and we're going into segment 3, which is a wonderful experience as well. God bless you all. God bless all of you that are here with me.
We are deeply grateful for this forum. We thank those in attendance for your attention, for your wonderful questions, future topic suggestions, and stories that touched our hearts and opened our minds to new possibilities. Our collective energy has filled this forum with light and love for each other. We are so grateful that each of us brings guides and angelic beings to the forum, raising the frequency even higher. We are grateful for the assistance, inspiration, and guidance from the benevolent beings overseeing the forum. Know we are deeply loved and richly blessed. Amen.